Y'all planning for this?
Welcome back, TPR Nation. This is Jamie Shalansky in an episode of Worlds to Conquer, and we will be talking about how you have direct control over 10xing your practice, how you elevate your game as a financial advisor. And I got a lot of great questions that said, Jamie, I'm really excited about this. We're implementing Surge, but when I fall out of Surge, when Surge wraps up for me and my team, I go from this hyper productivity level to feeling a little bit guilty about how much time I have outside of the office. What do I do about that to make sure that I'm still on track to hit my goals and I'm still focused on 10xing my practice outside of Surge? This is one of the biggest areas of confusion for most financial advisors that prefer to meet with clients 365 days out of the year, Monday through Friday. They say, I don't want a lifestyle practice because that means I would have a lazy practice. I actually really enjoy working. Well, guess what? So do I. I really love the work that I do. And we don't have a lazy practice at Shalansky & Associates. What we have is a hyper-disciplined, hyper-focused financial advisory practice. And we choose to implement Surge because that is what works best for our clients. It works best for our clients to meet with us mid-March, mid-April when they're gearing up for tax time. They're already meeting with their CPAs. We sprinkle in appointments during that summertime because it's hit and miss a lot of times with people having vacation and holidays and kids out of schools, etc. So we sprinkle those surges in periodically. It also helps our team that doesn't like long intervals of time between when they can get a client on the phone with us if they feel that they need to have an appointment. And then in addition, we have our fall surge. Our fall surge is always mid-October to mid-November. Why? Families are coming together for the holidays. Things come up. Good, bad, or indifferent, things happen. And so we end up having a surge that is wrapped around when it makes the most sense to be hyper-disciplined and hyper-focused in order to deliver massive value to clients. But outside of Surge, that doesn't mean we go to 0% work. That doesn't mean that our foot is completely off the gas pedal. Instead, we're going to spend more time with the people that we love outside of the office, but we're still going to get our done. We're still going to be moving that needle. We're still going to be focused on making sure that our practice can achieve a certain level of growth. This is one of the reasons my brother Micah Shalansky and I sit down and we designed what we call the Financial Advisor's Perfect Week outside of Surge. And we said Monday through Friday, what are the expectations? What are the time-blocked periods of time that you should be getting these items done in order to feel that you're still advancing, you're still making progress, and you're still moving that needle towards your personal or professional goals. So I'm going to run you through in this podcast, Monday through Friday, what that looks like for financial advisors that onboard with Shalansky & Associates when we are outside of Surge. We are really big advocates and believers in morning success rituals. What is yours? What do you need to do every day to have that mastery and that presence of mind and that control over your morning? And so we create morning success rituals. And if you're not sure how to create one for yourself, and this is stuff that is normally done before you get to the office, before you started up your computer, maybe it's before you left the house, maybe it has to be in your car because you're shuffling kids, but before you mentally engage in work activities, what is that morning success ritual? Now, if you don't have a morning success ritual in place, then Floyd Shalansky recommends that you start with the Magellan Group's 8 starting points for morning success. And so I'll run you through all 8 of those, and maybe this is a good framework for you to do what works and repeat these. And if not, modify, implement, and change the ones that you need to. So in this 8-point checklist, what they start off with, number 1 is they visualize success. I talked about this before with reincarnated thoughts. What does success look like? Down to the temperature in the room, the fragrances you want to inhale, the atmosphere you want around you, the feeling of success. What is that reincarnated thought that you can bring to the top of your mind every single morning and visualize what it looks like? And maybe it's success for the day. Maybe it's, if I could just get this day to look like this, it'd be great. Or if it's a week or a month or a year, whatever you have going on in your life that you're having a hard time visualizing what success looks and feels like, put inside of here, put in your mind. I'm a big believer that you need to take it outside of your mind and put it down on paper and then repeat it over and over and over again. So it's not just trapped between your two ears, but instead you are pontificating it. You are getting it out into the future. All right. The second thing they need to do is the declaration, statements, and questions. Maybe these are affirmations. Maybe these are challenging questions that you want to keep as top of mind. One of the things that I ask myself every day is, am I living up to God's glory? Am I living up to my potential? Am I doing anything that I possibly could in order to empower as many human beings on this planet to reach their goodness? The third step is to review your game plan. What are you doing this quarter? What do you got going on this week when you break it down? What is that game plan, that overall concept? So many of us enter into our professional spaces, either that's an office, a home office, a work environment, a telephone, or traveling, and we are playing defense instead of offense. We are being reactive and not proactive. So instead, could you review your game plan? What are you supposed to be doing on a weekly basis in order to hit your quarterly goals? We use rocks, and we use a 90-day cycle to achieve those rocks. So every single quarter, are we on track? Is the whole team committed to knowing what those rocks are? Are we taking steps every single week to advance us to achieving those? And then they're going to spend a little bit of time doing a review, create daily game plan. All right, today, what does today look like on that I need to do? You can call it to-do list, a hot list. What are the items that you need to get done today in order to be successful? Then the Magellan Group recommends that you meditate for at least 5 minutes, and that is really deep, controlled breathing. This isn't surfing the internet. This isn't picking up any electronic device. This is focused meditation. And then they want to take some time and they want to journal. They want to write down all those thoughts. Maybe this is the head trash. Maybe this is the garbage. Maybe these are the worries, the concerns, the gratitudes, whatever you need to do to get out of your mental space so that you can be physically present in the rest of your life. The next thing that they do is one act of gratitude. What is one act of gratitude that they can achieve that day? Who do they want to give gratitude or thanks for in their life, and not just write about it silently so somebody is constantly questioning whether or not you are grateful, but physically take an action to demonstrate that gratitude. And then they recommend that you end your morning success ritual with at least 5 minutes of exercise. Not all of us get up and do exercise routines every single morning. So sometimes we want to go straight to work. That's when we're in our green zone. That's when we have the greatest brain power or bandwidth to get things done. But if you get 5 minutes to get your body in motion, 5 minutes to get you moving, how much more productivity could you achieve without just sitting there and constantly pounding back coffee? That is the framework for one morning success ritual. Now, you might already have something in place that you're doing, which would be fabulous. But if not, start there. Do what works there, and then see about adapting it and changing it as you need it. Okay, so when do we recommend this starts? A 7 a.m. start. So if you're getting up at 5 or 6, maybe you're doing your exercise, you're helping get people out the door, you're doing breakfast, whatever that is, we recommend a 7 a.m. start normally. All right, at 7:30, so we've got morning success ritual done. That's 15 or 30 minutes. At 7:30, we recommend doing some industry research. So maybe that's listening to this podcast or other podcasts that are helping you grow. Maybe this is ingesting new concepts, new ideas, new tax code, new changes. Retirement Tax Services has an awesome publication that they give out every month to their members. So if you're an Essentials member of Retirement Tax Services, maybe you're resurrecting that and you're going over all of the bullet points regarding tax law, tax changes, and tax actions you can take as a financial advisor. You're watching a re-recorded session of maybe a TPR webinar that we hosted. Maybe you're diving in as a Backstage Pass member and you're going over Micah and Matt's prospect videos or their training videos on how they present certain topics like Roth conversions, estate planning, qualified charitable distributions, whatever that topic matter is, you're ingesting something that is going to help you get in that financial planning mindset. That's going to introduce a new concept and new advancement that you can bring to your clients. Here's what this is is not. This time period is not surfing financial pornography, looking for the latest headline about markets swinging one direction or the other. That's not what this is. This is strategic focused time to implement new concepts or ideas given to you by trusted industry professionals that allow you to deliver massive value to clients. This is the fun stuff. This is the growth stuff that you're ingesting in this morning. Okay, at 8 a.m. on Monday, our financial advisors check in with the operations leads. They want to check in and see if there's any movement of money issues that they need to be advised of or give advice on. And then at 8:30, they're going to check in with the relationship manager leads, and they're going to need to know anything going on in the client's life that maybe the financial advisor should be aware of, or the financial advisor can relay things that are going on. Maybe they bumped into a client over the weekend. Maybe they got some kind of email that there was a death or an accident or divorce or something happening that the relationship manager team needs to know. All right, 9 a.m., they're going to do lead tasks. That's a buffer time to ensure that the lead questions are addressed. In order for Surge to be successful, your relationship managers who are responsible for the people relationships, not financial advice, but the relationships with your clients, as well as your operations team members who are responsible for the movement of money, they have to feel they have access to you. They have to feel they can get client questions answered by you in order for being outside of Surge and implementing Surge to be a success in your office. So between 8 and 9 a.m., that is what the financial advisor is concentrated on. We do not do this in the same meeting. We do it in a separate meeting. We put operations first. Why? Because it involves the movement of money and they have specific answers. They're coming to you with all of the facts and you can make immediate decisions. Relationship managers are coming to you with more emotional issues, more complex issues that are going to take time to articulate and don't always have immediate answers that they need to get. And then the financial advisor is going to have 30 minutes of space to wrap up anything outstanding with either the lead in the operations or the lead in the relationship manager's time. All right, then the next hour is going to be spent on preparing for client meetings or content creation. So if we're outside of Surge and you had a whole bunch of work that you had to get done for the next Surge, this is a great piece of time to do that in, and this gives it space to live. If not, you're going to be doing content creation. And then from 10:30 to about 11:30, we're going to spend an hour of deep focus time doing nothing but task completion. So in our office at Shalansky & Associates, the operations team and the relationship management team might be assigning tasks to the financial advisor if it's involving financial advice that you've got to get done outside of Surge. This is the space that lives at to get those tasks easily done. All right, and then from 12 to 12:30, they are going to do email check-in. We are big believers that you should not live inside of your email inbox and you shouldn't even have the tab open unless your focus is doing nothing but answering emails at that time. So if you are one of those financial advisors who's been operating as a B team member and you want to A-game your operate the rest of this year, then you're going to delete your Gmail or your Microsoft inbox from your phone. No mail on your phone. Why? You can always download it again. It's not like if your office called and you had some big client emergency, you couldn't re-download the application, but you're going to get rid of it off of your phone. And the reason you do so is because when you check it on your phone, are you being deliberate and intentional about the work that you're doing, or are you being immediate and sloppy? Most likely. The worst emails to get back from people are, hey, I'm traveling, ha ha ha, let me get you the answer when I get back, see you out, bye. That did no value. That was zero value for your client who asked you a very important question in their mind, so important that they sat down and penned out exactly what they wanted to say to you to get an answer. And you answered with some sloppy response about how you're not available. Do not have email on your phone. Get out of it. Your email should be on your computer and you should have a focused period of time where nothing else is going on your screen except for you answering that client's email with the resources that you need in order to get the client the answer. Now, in our office, that means 2 emails, make a phone call. So if we go back and forth with a client over something and it happens more than 2 times, and this is a standing rule for anyone in our practice, is that once we hit the second email, then we pick up the phone and we call the client, because clearly this is a more complex question or we are not answering that as needed. So we make sure we give that a time block. And then we're going to go ahead and check out. And I want your day wrapping up 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Now, if you don't have a lot of tasks and you don't have a lot of content to produce and those shrink shrink on those times, great, fantastic, good for you. All right, that brings us to Tuesday. Tuesday, we're going to begin the day again with, guess what? Yep, you got it, the morning success ritual. So you're going to go through all of those steps. All right, and then in the next time block period of time, you've got to be ingesting some technical information. So on Monday, we started with some type of strategy that you wanted to implement, something positive in the environment of financial planning advice. And then on Tuesdays, you would really want to dive into something a little bit more technical. So if on Monday, you got some type of article from Retirement Tax Services on a new tax strategy, then maybe on Tuesday, you're going to the IRS's website and you're reading the private rulings, or you're reading the tax code, or you're looking more in depth into whatever that piece of advice is. So you have a real good grasp on the technicalities behind it. Here's what I love to see done after you get that technical knowledge. So on Monday, we got the implementation ideas. On Tuesday, we reinforced it with technical. Guess what you should spend the rest of Tuesday doing? Content creation. Whoever your niche is, whoever your market is, maybe this is a client email or newsletter that goes out that you're going to add a video to. Maybe it's an article you're writing. Maybe it's a publication, a journal. I don't care what it is, but when you have that knowledge and you're excited about sharing it, go record content. Go get content published on that for the rest of Tuesday. All right, on Wednesday, we'll begin the day again with our morning success ritual, and then we're going to briefly check in with our operations team. Now, we check in with the operations team on Wednesday because remember, their job is the movement of money. And a lot of times, operations people don't always have a lot of things that need your attention. The more and more you get your communication streamlined, they just need to know you're available if they do. If they do need your attention, they have a time where that lives and they know that they can get a hold of you. All right, then at 8:30 a.m., we're going to do tasks that the operations team needs you to dial into. So this could be account review, this could be model management, this could be where do we take a loan or a distribution from, whatever those tasks are that the operation feels that only you can do because it involves financial advice are going to be inside of there. All right, then the 9 a.m. to about 10 a.m., we want to build out the one-page financial plans. So if you're an Invictus member or Backstage Pass member here at the Perfect RIA, then you know what our one-page plan looks like. And we use a custom CRM that Micah and I built. It's called Infinity. And so we will build inside of Infinity that one-page plan so that every client appointment that we have during our surges, we're just generating that. So when we're outside of surge, we need to make sure that all of those plans are built and updated for each side of the client. So we'll go through a couple of them that are outstanding. If we're onboarding a new prospect and we need to enter it in here, this is where we will do it. Once we are done building out those one-page plans, we'll review any processes. Is anything being bottlenecked in our department that we need to get done? And maybe this is a life insurance application and the team needs to know which one we want to move forward with. Maybe this is a rollover that we're helping a client with, or a transfer of their 401k. Where are we at in these different processes that need to be done? So remember, a task is one step, one person, and that can be easily done and accomplished. Where a process involves multiple steps and potentially multiple people. A blueprint, in contrast, is an if this, then that scenario. So we look at our processes and we say, okay, where's this ball ping-ponging back and forth? And if it's on your side of the table, you need to get it done and advance it. And then we're going to round out the day with doing email check-in. And remember, when we have email check-in, we're doing do, delegate, or delete. And you'll make mention that I did not say we were going to check our email on Tuesdays. Maybe Tuesday's the day you don't check your email. I don't know where this became such a honest truth for most of the country, but you don't have to check your email every 30 seconds. I do not run out to the end of my drive and check my written correspondence every 30 seconds. Why am I doing that in electronic fashion? Instead, I'm going to have specific time block periods of time that I look at my email and I answer what I need to get answered. Now, I do email delegation in my office, so I have an executive assistant and I do email delegation, which means I have a written policy on how my email is to be handled. And if you're not doing email delegation, why not? It is amazing. I've thought it for a couple of years, but once I had it onboarded, it's worked out very successfully. Do I have people say, hey, I emailed you and never heard from you? Of course I do. But it doesn't happen as consistently as you dread it will. It happens for me probably 2 or 3 times a year. And then I go back, resurrect it. I inform them that, you know what, my assistant goes through my email box because I spend a lot of time in meetings and I want to make sure that your questions are being answered. And sometimes I'm just not the most appropriate person to answer them. And they normally laugh and say, great, that's wonderful, but can we get this kind of answer? And then we move forward. So you may have some head trash about your email, but you probably need to articulate articulate what all those fears are, develop a communication policy, and then get out of your email. All right, that brings us to Thursday. And Thursday is a content and a client meeting day. And so on Thursdays, we begin again with our morning success ritual. And then we want to do our projects review. Check your content calendar. Is everything being accomplished by the marketing team that needs to be done? Do you have a marketing team in place? Do you have a marketing plan in place? Do you have a marketing calendar scheduled out? If not, this is a great time to look at all of that and get these kind of things implemented. In our office, we do a lot of video content. So on Thursdays, we are re-looking at our videos. Maybe some of them didn't make it past compliance. Maybe some of them didn't make it past our relationship managers that said swing and miss, go do it again because I didn't really understand what you were trying to convey in this message. And so we take that constructive feedback really well in our office because we know when we get feedback from other people, it's not about complaining or nitpicking. It's, hey, you got big goals. I want to help you achieve them. Here's how. And so we're really great about listening to each other's feedback. So we'll go and spend most of Thursday morning top heavy, making sure that we're doing marketing things to really advance the brand and really get ourselves in front of prospects. A 3-minute video on YouTube seems like a really easy thing to accomplish, but it takes several hours of production to actually get done between making sure we understood the question, looking up the technical benefits, getting it past compliance of what we can and can't say, and then of course doing the video recording and then the execution of sending things out from there. So it goes into a lot of work. So if you don't have a marketing calendar or marketing agenda that you're working with, Thursday's a great place to stick this and do so. So then on Thursday, kind of mid-morning, we want to do Center of Influence development. If you are a Backstage Pass or Invictus member, Matthew Jarvis has great scripts on how you can develop your Center of Influence, and you can reach out to CPAs and attorneys and people that maybe are in your niche and begin to work those relationships in order to develop more centers of influence, which as a byproduct will result in more referrals coming towards you as long as you don't blatantly ask for those referrals. There's a great pitch that Matthew Jarvis has developed time and time again in order to enhance that particular place. All right, then on Thursdays, we'll do email again. So following our do, delegate, or delete. So I've mentioned this a few times, just a reiteration. Do. These are things that you as the financial advisor can physically do. These are answering the questions that regard financial advice. These are the questions the rest of the team cannot answer. So if this is an email from a client that says, hey, listen, really enjoyed our last meeting. I'm okay to move over my retirement plan. I've got around $600,000 in this particular account. I just want to know, what is our 10-year strategy? What's the investments look like? What is the model? What are we going to be doing here? How are we going to cash up? How much money can I take out of my portfolio ultimately? All of those type of questions that regard financial advice about what a client should do should live in this space under do inside of your email inbox. And just because it's something that you have to do, if you're not in the right frame of mind, or if you're not in a space where you can fully and completely answer that question for the client, then give yourself a breath or a beat to get back to that question. And so it's okay to respond to a client and maybe say, hey, this is a great question. I'm going to get back to you by end of week, Friday. And then you get back to them on Thursday. So when we say do, these are the things that only you can do in your office. You are the financial advisor. You're the ones that have to get this stuff done. And then there's delegate. What's the stuff that you don't have to do because it doesn't require financial advice? Here's a great one that's underutilized by most financial advisors who think we have to be the ones to do this. What about insurance license renewals? So across the state, whenever we have to pay our fees, we oftentimes call a bribe to the state in order to do business in their particular boundaries. Then we will pay those fees to those state. We'll renew our AML. We will renew our license wherever we want to practice. And we need to get those copies to those particular officials. If you're using NIPR, could you give an assistant permission and rights in order to file that information, or at least get you registered and know when you need to go in and do that? Likewise, when it comes to continuing education credits, you might have a license or designations that require you to have a certain number of CE credits. Now, I wish you could just delegate that, but you can't completely because ethically, you need to be the one to to be taking all of those classes and signing off that you did. But you could delegate to your assistant to get the courses lined up for you and scheduled on your calendar, and all of the renewal information filled out for that state or that insurance company or whoever it is, your compliance officer, that you need to get done. So there are things that you can delegate out to an assistant that help you get the stuff done that you need to do. When it comes to email, if you can't do the email yourself, if you can't delegate the email to get it structured the way you want it to be, then you probably need to delete it. Now, in our office, we never delete anything, but it does go to the archive bin. And so we will archive everything. And then on Friday is going to be a really quick day, and you are going to do nothing but outline and research some type of financial planning advice you want to learn more on. And then we don't have any client appointments on Fridays when we're outside of Surge, and we don't have any calls with team members on Fridays when we're outside of Surge. One of the things that I do for our team at Shalane Skin Associates is with our relationship managers and our operations team, if we are outside of Surge, we have a Flex Friday. So if you have work that you need to get done, come to the office and get it done. If you have work you think you can do from home and want to do it there, go ahead and do it there. If you are all caught up on Thursday night and you have everything done, plus you've checked in with the rest of your team to make sure no one else is drowning, and you want to take a 3-day weekend, go ahead. I don't care, because this comes about the responsibility that you have the maturity to get the work done that needs to get done. And no, my Flex Friday does not count towards their PTO. They get to use that in other capacities elsewhere. But before they completely disconnect, everyone has to check out with somebody else. And so even the financial advisors, when you come on to work in our office, you still have to check out with your lead to make sure that they know what you've been able to accomplish, what maybe got stalled or kicked out till next week. And then they know better what else is hanging out there that a client might call back on Monday about. So we do this checkout process with all of our team members and one another, not because we think we need to be babysat, but instead we want to make sure nobody's caught with their pants down. We don't want to leave anyone in a lurch. If you go out that weekend and maybe you get a terrible cold that makes you completely useless on Monday morning, that checkout as a financial advisor for your operations team is a handoff of the baton. Now, they can pick it up and run with it if it doesn't involve financial advice, or they can go to bat for you if they need to talk to a client and say, listen, I know you're waiting on this answer. They're really sick. They're going to get back to you on Wednesday. I just wanted to touch base with you, etc. So this check in and check out is a really good strategy to make sure that everyone knows that there's connectivity and everyone knows where they're supposed to be and what they are supposed to be doing. The biggest fear our office had when we developed Surge and we began implementing and refining it. And we've been doing Surge for decades. Now, over the last 10 years, we've been doing it in this specific strategy. And every single Surge, we have a pre-Surge meeting and a post-Surge meeting. And we get better and better and better about our process. And one of the greatest fears as our Surges began to mean more time between seeing a client was that the operations team and the relationship managers were terrified that they weren't going to be able to get a hold of the financial advisor outside of Surge. But that's not reality. That wasn't a truth. That was just their head trash. That was their fear that they would not be able to fully service the client because the financial advisor was not accessible. And so instead of validating that fear by telling them, no, don't call me unless it's on the communication policy and it's an emergency that you've escalated, we said, great, let's give it a place to live. And so now they know where those places to live are and how we will be checking in and checking out with each other. And you want to talk about eradicating fear and head trash from your team? Ask for their feedback. Ask to make sure that this is the right place. Now, they don't have to tell me I need you to be available 24/7. That's never going to happen in any profession. And likewise, I don't expect them to be available 24/7. But I do expect all of us to show up for the periods and the times that we have blocked and scheduled to work together. And this has been beautiful with our team. It alleviates their fears and their concerns. It makes sure the advisor is attuned with what's going on with their clients, because because the financial advisors who start off implementing Surge, they got a lot of head trash too. They have a lot of head trash. They're going to lose all of their clients because they're not the ones directly talking to the clients the most throughout the year. And that's not a reality. We went through this a lot. And luckily inside of Infinity, we could create a widget and a dashboard that, especially for Floyd Shalansky, who does have that shopkeeper mentality because he did single-handedly build Shalansky and Associates to be the incredible enterprise office that it is today. He had that fear that when we started doing surges and we started doing these communication policies decades ago, that meant that clients would no longer feel comfortable coming in or calling the office because he wasn't immediately available for whatever they needed. But when we set up those widgets and when we gave him those KPIs, those key performance indicators, he could log into Infinity and see, oh, this client did call. Hold on, what was it about? Oh, it's about an address change. I don't need that. Oh, this client called. Oh, they wanted to make sure they increase the number of taxes that are being withheld from their distributions. I didn't really need to know about that. That's good. And so he really got to see the nature of the incoming calls and to know that clients were still calling and that they were still being taken care of and that he did still have access and oversight over everything that was happening with that client relationship. And then we elevated this process by making sure our financial advisors had time to check in with the leads of operation and the leads of relationship managers. Now, a couple of tricks that we did this last couple of years was just because we told the leads that we wanted them to lead the meeting with the financial advisors and do this check-in, we still had to give those leads a format to follow. We still had to give them a memorandum and a policy and a running agenda of how those meetings should be conducted, because it's not the financial advisor that's running that meeting. It's the lead of that department running that meeting, because the meeting is for them, not for you as the financial advisor. It is for them to be able to get the answers they need so they feel confidence and success in doing the work you've asked them to do. It is also about reinforcing that outside of Surge that you are still available, that if they get into a position or a situation that they don't know how to answer or handle for a client, they're not left guessing what to do. Instead, they know that you still have accessibility outside of Surge. So when we're outside of Surge, some financial advisors are like, hold on a second, my day's going to wrap up around 12 or 12:30. Yeah, sure is. Hope so. And then they're like, well, what do I do with the rest of the day? Well, you're either responsible to get the stuff done that you didn't get done and need to, and that becomes your own responsibility to achieve. But this is about following a disciplined schedule so you don't get caught playing office, because what we are focused on is delivering massive value, being more intentional about the time that we spend outside the office with the people we love, and being highly profitable. And in order to do that, you cannot get caught playing office. And so you must be intentional. You must be disciplined about the time that you have given. So here in this Advisor's Perfect Week, and if you want a copy of the Perfect Week and your Backstage Pass or Invictus member, just email us. Take some example of this and make it work for your practice. This works for ours. Do what works best. So here we're able to deliver massive value to our clients because we are constantly learning and enhancing and developing our ability to be financial advisors. We're learning technical information throughout the week, and we're getting excited about new ideas and new concepts. We're able to make sure our practice continues to grow in that capacity. We're checking in with our team members, and we're making sure that they know of our availability and that their questions will get answered and we're not completely inaccessible outside of Surge. All right, second core tenet of the Perfect RIA is to make sure that we're spending more time outside of the office with the people that we love. We get up at 7, we smash this out, and we're done at noon. Guess what we get to do the rest of the day? We can exercise, we can cook, we can do chores, we can do projects, we can volunteer work, we can go pick the kids up from school, we can spend one-on-one time with our spouses. Whatever that looks like in your world, you now have space and time to go and achieve without constantly worrying or feeling guilty that you should have been working. The third tenet of the Perfect RIA is to be profitable. You have a responsibility ability to you, to your family, to your team, to your clients to remain in business. And the only way you're going to remain in business is if you are profitable. So in order to achieve your goals, in order to 10x your practice, you have to be focused on constantly moving that needle. And when you're outside a surge, this is a perfect way to do this. You saw inside of our Advisor Perfect Week that we gave you a lot of opportunities to learn, to get technical skills, to really learn from experts and do what works. And then also you needed to take that information and you needed to have action items behind it. So you began to create content. Maybe that's written articles, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a YouTube, maybe it's client newsletters that you want to write yourself. Whatever that is, to develop your ability to grow your business. That's time connecting with centers of influence. Maybe it's a luncheon, maybe it's coffee, maybe it's just a phone call. Whatever that is that you get to help make your practice profitable. Because we want three things, right? We want to deliver massive value. We want to spend more time outside of the office with the people that we love doing what we love. And then we also want to be highly profitable in the process. And all of that is 100% achievable if you take time and actually implement these techniques to make you successful. So TPR Nation, you know that this podcast is always 100% about actionable items you can take right now. If you're a solopreneur or if you're an enterprise office, you can take these actions and implement this change that you want to see. If you're in an enterprise office and you are that lead senior advisor and you have younger, junior, or protege advisors coming up, do you have a perfect week built out for them? Have you taken the time to step by step show them what needs to be done in order for them to be as successful as you want them to be? And also, if you are that senior advisor and you've got some head trash about them leaving the office at 12 or 12:30, you really need to kind of check yourself and say, listen, am I more interested in productivity or time management? Because if you can teach somebody to be very disciplined, very focused, and very hyper intentional about the work that they're doing, they can get all of it done in a time block period on their calendar. Now, if it takes them till 4 p.m., then that's on them. They're not focused. They're not disciplined. They're not hustling to get this stuff done. But I don't care if they leave at 12:30 or 1 if they've got their stuff done. That's what I care most about. Are they delivering massive value? And are they being responsible stewards of the time that they've been given to do their work? If you are a younger advisor and you are in an enterprise office and they don't have a perfect advisor week scheduled out, guess what? I just did it for them. Take what I just told you and now go implement it in your own practice, in your own life. Do this strategy. You are empowered to be able to take control of your week in order to move the needle and get you where you want to be. The next action item you can take immediate steps on are talk to your team members. Do you have a relationship manager lead? Do you have an operations lead? And are they feeling with you implementing Surge, because the entire financial planning industry is moving to this model. So you can either be an innovator and at the top of that, or you can be a lagger and the last one to ditch the Nokia and go to a smartphone. You must decide where you want to fall in this spectrum. The top financial advisors that I know throughout this country, regardless if they are a single practitioner or if they are an enterprise model with hundreds of other financial advisors, are moving to the Surge schedule. And so when that happens, you must also have it outlined exactly what you're going to do when you're outside of Surge, which means you need to address with your team members the fears, the concerns, and the head trash that they have so that you can alleviate them right away. And when you sit down and talk to them, they're going to be most concerned, in my opinion, about not being able to answer a client question and not being able to get a hold of you if that question remains outstanding. And so here in this perfect week, we gave them several opportunities. And so the way I would present this is I would listen to what they had to say and say, great, what if I checked in with you on Monday and Wednesdays of every week? Oh yeah, that could work. Well, I don't want you to go in the weekend with any concerns. So right before I kind of wrap up my day, why don't I check out with you again? Oh, that would be perfect. Actually, Monday, Wednesday, Friday works beautifully for me. All right, great. And I also wanted to just reiterate these rules of communication. So if we have a genuine client emergency, you know that you can get a hold of me. But if it's not emergency, let's just make sure we talk during one of those meetings. And that will work for them. them if you articulate it in that manner and if you listen to what they have to say about what their concerns are so you can dispel them from myth versus reality. Okay, TPR Nation, this is Jamie Shalansky in an episode of Worlds to Conquer. We have been unpacking how you can really 10x your practice outside of Surge by implementing the Financial Advisor's Perfect Week. I gave you a mock example of what we do in our office for financial advisors. Start with that as the framework. Make sure that you're implementing what your week looks like when you are outside of Surge. And as always, find people who share your values and go change the world.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife. The perfect RIA, the